The new Audi A6 Avant, a car that ups the luxury while cutting fuel consumption. And that's mainly down to its lightweight chassis. 20% of it is made from aluminum, slashing 70 kilos off its curb weight. Together with the car's start-stop automatic system and other smart features, that adds up to 18% less fuel consumption. And let's not forget extras, like a touchpad navigation system and free internet access. Mark Meissner from Audi says that in general the Avant's progressiveness and sportiness play an important role in Audi's stable. That's particularly true of the A6 Avant because it combines a lot of core brand values through its sportiness and high functionality. He notes that 1.2 million A6 Avants were sold between 1977 and 2011, making it a very successful Audi model. We decide to really go for it and splash out with the S-Line. That costs an extra 3,200 euros. This includes a low-slung, road-hugging sports chassis that is 3 centimeters lower than the standard model. Sporty it may be, but that doesn't mean that you won't use it for a trip to the shops. There's a clever little device to help you open the trunk, even if your hands are full. Mark Meissner is proud of this feature. He explains that you can open the rear hatch hands-free just by making a kicking movement and then load your luggage into the vehicle. That makes things very easy. The A6 Avant is Audi's first station wagon with this automatic liftgate. But be warned, you should practice your cargo hold kick in private first. You can close the tailgate again with the press of a button. From the rear of the car, you can also fold down the back seats, this time using hand-operated levers. This increases the storage space to a total volume of 1,680 liters. While the extended cargo hold doesn't have a completely level surface, it is imposing nonetheless. Along with numerous driver assistance systems, there is also a speedy internet connection. And the graphics card in the navigation system, for example, integrates images and information from Google Earth, keeping the driver up to date with traffic conditions. We checked out the range-topping petrol-driven 3-liter TFSI. It boasts 220 kilowatts of power and goes from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 5.6 seconds. The new Audi A6 Avant comes with a choice of 5 engines, including 2 gasoline and 3 diesel models. Mark Meissner says the engines combine sportiness with fuel economy. For example, the entry-level diesel, the 2.0-liter TDI with 177 horsepower, only uses 5 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. The matte aluminum finish in the cockpit of the S-Line underlines its sporty character. The main market for A6 Avants is Europe. Mark Meissner says some 98% are sold here. Audi's domestic market is particularly important. More than half are sold in Germany, but Scandinavia is also a major market. The fixture and fittings are impressive. Along with the cloud radio with onboard monitor, there are light and rain sensors, an electromechanical parking brake, front and rear parking sensors, and a speed regulator. And if you can afford to splash out, then you can make life easier by adding even more frills. Automaker Daimler can now simulate the kind of severe weather conditions more common in other parts of the globe, back at its headquarters in southern Germany. And that without even having to go outdoors. Thomas Weber from Daimler describes the brand new climatic wind tunnels as a great innovation that will help the company to accelerate vehicle development. The environment will benefit as a result, but first and foremost, Daimler's customers. Rather than having to test their vehicles in the desert at temperatures topping 40 degrees or in the frozen wastelands of the north, Daimler can now test its cars under its own roof. At the Mercedes-Benz Technology Center, there are now 2 cutting-edge climatic wind tunnels. Local politicians were there to witness the inauguration of the new project. Thomas Weber says the company invested more than 50 million euros in this wind tunnel alone. Back in October 2010, the Technology Center installed a new driving simulator. He notes that in a third phase, they'll create a wind tunnel capable of carrying out acoustic tests. A total of 230 million euros is being invested in the future of Daimler vehicles and this development center. Weber feels it will definitely pay off. Car development should also become a lot more efficient as a result. As well as saving time and money, the environment will also benefit. The company will not be able to completely forego real-life tests. However, the German testing equipment will provide engineers with precise measurements that can be checked and rechecked. Thomas Weber says tests that took 14 days in the past, weather permitting, can now be completed in 14 hours. The new technology consists of 2 separate climatic tunnels, one hot and the other cold. The cold means very, very cold. The temperature here can be reduced to minus 40 degrees Celsius. In the hot tunnel, it is possible to generate temperatures of 60 degrees. That's a real test for the materials. Other climatic conditions can be simulated at the same time, because in reality, heat and cold are not the only factors that affect a vehicle at any given time. The i40 marks Hyundai's debut in the mid-range segment. The station wagon model was developed specially for the European market, and it will be the first to go on sale. Hyundai has its sights set on the fleet market. The choice of engines includes 2 gasoline and 1 diesel with 2 different performance levels. In Germany, the station wagon starting price is 23,390 euros. The i40 sedan will be launched in the fall. Cadillac has presented its new concept convertible Ciel, French for sky. Measuring 5 meters and 17 centimeters in length, the car has plenty of space for 4 passengers. The Ciel is powered by a twin turbocharged 3.6-liter V6 direct injection engine augmented by a hybrid system using lithium-ion batteries. It's not yet clear whether the model will go into series production. When the Indian company Tata Motors bought Land Rover, it was the end of an era for many Britons. But it's also proving to be a bright new beginning. The company has now brought out a compact version of the Range Rover with a sleek new form, the Range Rover Evoque. But there are already competitors out there. Such as the BMW X1, for example. But first, back to the newcomer. Vehicle tester Sebastian Renz says the Evoque is the smallest and most economical Range Rover. He says the compact claims to be the sportiest SUV. Up to now, the BMW X1 has been the most sporty and most economical. We test their claims. Usually, cities are not the natural habitat of SUVs, but the BMW X1 feels particularly at home here. It is a bit longer than the Range Rover, but it's also lower and narrower. But while a low profile might be good on the open road, it's not so great on rough terrain. And its four-wheel drive system is also better suited to the highway. That becomes particularly obvious traveling through the Welsh countryside. At one point, we even needed to give it an extra helping hand. The X1 18D delivers 105 kilowatts of power, so is a bit less powerful than the Evoque, but it makes more of it. The BMW takes just over 10 seconds to reach 100 kilometers per hour and can reach speeds of 195 kilometers per hour. According to the manufacturers, consumption is 5.7 liters of diesel per 100 kilometers. There, the two SUVs are evenly matched. Sebastian Renz says the BMW X1 remains the most sporty and dynamic vehicle in its class. The car, he adds, doesn't perform like an SUV, but like a completely normal compact station wagon with great traction, thanks to the four-wheel drive. But the real weakness of the BMW X1 is its cabin. It's a bit snug. The largely plastic interior is also a bit Spartan in appearance. It might cost 2,500 euros less than its British counterpart, but at 32,200 euros, it's not exactly cheap. And we haven't even talked extras yet. The Range Rover takes you off-road in luxury. It has an impeccable pedigree. The Evoque makes this a little more affordable. It remains a premium product, but it now plays in the same price league as the other compact SUVs. It's not for people who want to go unnoticed. The Evoque stands out from the crowd and will probably continue to do so for some time to come. It's a real head-turner. The Range Rover's cabin offers exactly what you might have expected from the BMW X1. It's broader and airier, a cut above. But the vehicle can also get down and dirty. The Evoque really makes the grade when it heads off-road. And we're not just talking about a couple of centimeters extra ground clearance here. While its southern German counterpart turns out to have no real head for heights, the Brit shows true grit. With its 2.2 liters of cubic capacity, the Evoque delivers a bit more than the 2-liter BMW. The Range Rover also gleans 110 kilowatts from its motor. But its acceleration can't compete with the BMW. It takes 10.8 seconds to get from 0 to 100 kilometers, and its top speed is around 185 kilometers per hour. Renz says Range Rovers are expected to meet very high standards in terms of their interiors, workmanship, and image. And he says the Evoque really outshines the competition here. The X1 displays some unattractive molded plastic in parts. It's more basic. Though the workmanship's solid, it's not what you expect from a premium product. The Evoque, says Renz, fulfills these expectations. It features attractive surfaces, an unusual operating system, makes for very pleasant, comfortable driving. The Evoque is the most reasonably priced Range Rover of all time, but it's still not really cheap. Prices start at around 33,000 euros in Germany. Our test model cost almost 35,000. So the Range Rover is more expensive than the BMW, but also comes better equipped. Sebastian Renz says it's a matter of character when deciding between the Range Rover and the BMW. He says both manufacturers have given their premium SUVs characteristics typical of their brands. He says the Evoque has become a true off-road vehicle, which handles tough terrain well. It boasts an elevated seating position, is spacious, but feels a bit cumbersome, just what you expect from a Range Rover. By contrast, he feels that the X1 is a typical BMW. He says it's a very dynamic car, but not a true SUV. More of a roomier, elevated station wagon than a real off-roader. The BMW X1 is certainly the sportiest SUV in its class. However, it falls a bit short in the utility part. It simply provides too little ground clearance. In contrast, the Evoque can be used off-road. Its interior is also more versatile and luxurious, something that's sure to win over many prospective buyers. Our vehicle tester Mathis says behind him is the VW T5 California, Volkswagen's most modern camper van. But today he's going to go back 60 years and see how the dream of getting away from it all began, with a VW T1 complete with camping box. He says, we're going to take the vehicle on a special 3-day tour from Bavaria through the Alps to Verona, Italy. We'll cover the 600-kilometer journey in this 1962 VW bus with its 25-kilowatt engine. To make the experience as authentic as possible, we'll only take roads which were in existence half a century ago. Just before we reach the Großglockner High Alpine Road, it starts to rain. It's dry in the bus, but only now do we realize what a luxury a functioning heating system really is. It's time to get out the blankets. This road was first opened to traffic in 1935, and with its 27 bends, takes us to a height of 2,500 meters. Unfortunately, the bad weather spoils our view of the picturesque mountains. We take a quick break to warm up and stop at the Fuscherlacker restaurant, located at an altitude of 2,200 meters. The restaurant's owner has a passion for marmots, which are common in these parts. He's even tamed a few and keeps them as house pets. We'd like to stay a lot longer and discover more about marmots, but it's time to go.
Komm ein bisschen mit nach Italien, komm ein bisschen mit ans blaue Meer. Und wir tun, als ob das Leben eine schöne Reise wäre. Komm ein bisschen mit nach Italien, komm ein bisschen mit, weil sich das lohnt. Denn am Tag scheint dort die Sonne und am Abend scheint der Mond.
At the southern end of the Großglockner Pass, the bus needs a fill-up.
Zeig ein richtiger Italiener, was kann.
It looks like it could use a bit of a rest, too, but we must keep pressing on. And here we are, in Bella Italia. 1,500 meters above sea level, we find our campsite. The Bully camper van has almost everything you need for an extended holiday. Its many extras enable people to be flexible. The whole family could travel together in style and comfort. Provided you're not too tall, you can start the new day well rested and refreshed. We begin the second leg of our journey, which will take us from Zesto to Lake Garda. Mathis says that sitting beside him is Christian Schluter from VW's Commercial Vehicles division. Our tester asks how the company got the idea to turn a commercial vehicle into a recreational one. Christian Schluter says that in 1951, when Germany's economic miracle was just beginning, people wanted to drive to Italy on holiday. Because they didn't only want to travel in a Beetle, he says, a few customers said they'd like to have camping furniture in a VW bus. The idea was born. Mathis notes that as time passed, VW offered more than just the camping box. Schluter says that in the mid-1950s, VW launched an entire camper van line. It offered various interiors, floor plans, and roof constructions, creating a whole family of models still offered today. Now in its fifth generation, Schluter says the firm still sells camper vans based on the VW bus. The big difference between a VW bus and a mobile home is that the VW lacks a toilet. The bus is more like a comfortable tent on wheels, one which transports passengers up and down the mountains without complaint. And back up again. We cross 6 mountains before reaching our goal on the second leg of our journey. Even today, the camper van features the same things it did way back when, even if they're now electric and offer somewhat more space. And of course, the price has increased. Today's VW camper vans have a starting price of just under 40,000 euros in Germany. The third and final stage of our journey takes us alongside Lake Garda, heading for Verona. This area has been a popular vacation destination for German tourists since the 1950s due to its temperate climate. But the heavy traffic can make driving stressful. We head off the road and onto a ferry, one of the many here. With our journey nearing an end, this gives us a chance to sum up our thoughts about the VW bus, while the vehicles at the front of the ferry get a complimentary car wash. After our 3-day tour, we can say that even though the handling isn't stellar and the safety features are minimal when compared to today's models, these old VW buses can really take a beating. Mathis says we've almost reached the end of our trip to Verona. He thinks it's a shame, as the last 3 days have flown by, and it was great fun driving this old VW bully through the Alps. While much has changed over the last 60 years, he says, one thing has stayed the same, the feeling of being free.